Today I'm talking about what they really mean when they say change your mindset. Hey love, you're listening to the Mums in Biz Show and I'm Nick Tuering. Every week I'll bring you the unvarnished version of what it means to be a mum running a brilliant business, what you need to be doing to get it to where you want it to be, and a healthy dose of how to get the heck out of your own way. Let's dive in. Ladies, and welcome to the Mums in Biz Show. I am Nick Tuerick and I am your host. I show up every Monday around this time and have a chat to you about business, being a mum in business, the sorts of things that get in our way, we can get ahead, and how we can leverage the amazingness that we already have within us to make that happen. Because I think that we discount ourselves way too readily. So today is episode 17, talking about what they really mean when they say change your mindset. I know that you have heard this. If you have spent 5 seconds in the online business environment, you will have heard someone say that. In fact, you have probably heard me say that. And so what I want to get into today is what the heck that actually means and how you can even get started, because even just somebody saying that to us can be enough for us to go, well, how the frig am I ever going to get ahead? Because how do I change my mindset? And what does that even mean? And no, I actually just need to take really tangible action in my business, which is also true. So we're going to get into that. So let's dive in today. What do they really mean when they say change your mindset? For a start, I want to ask you a question, and that is, what does that mean to you? When you think about mindset, because it's a bit of a catchphrase that people tend to use today, and I think that it has completely lost its oomph and its meaning because of that, and that happens quite a lot actually, when we all sort of gravitate to a particular word and then it starts to mean all sorts of different things. And typically we hear it said like, well, if I can just change my mindset, then I'm going to start seeing results in my business. If I can just fix how I'm thinking about things, then it's going to be more consistent. I'm going to be attracting the people that I want to be attracting. 90% of success is in between my ears, which is true, by the way. I 100% agree with that. And if you don't think that's true, then you and I need to have another conversation. Ping me on Messenger. But what does that actually mean, and where on earth do you start? What I have found working both my own journey through business to get to Nick T coaching and what that looks like today, and in working with my clients, is that half of the thing that we struggle with is about figuring out who we are and then trusting ourselves to show up as that person in our business. Most women that I talk to, most mums in business, even people who have fairly significant careers, have been in corporate for a long time, most of us are pretending to be someone else. We're pretending to be the person that we think everybody expects us to be, whether that be the mum that we think everybody expects us to be, the business owner, in my instance, the director, pretending to be the director. And by pretend, I mean I was forcing myself to show up in a way that I thought represented what everybody else wanted to see from me. Now, it's a really fine line between that and what we talk about on the entrepreneurial side of the fence, which is figure out who your business needs you to be, that successful business that you're aiming for, and then start showing up as that person now. Two different things, because the pretend side of the fence means that you're potentially not being really authentic to yourself. You're potentially pretending characteristics or values or ways of working that aren't really genuine to the message that you want to get across. And if you are an entrepreneur and you are trying to attract a particular person, an ideal client, and we'll get into that more in a minute, if you're showing up or pretending to be the person that you think those people want you to be, they're not going to want to listen to you. Because if I've learned anything, it's that we all have a really, really finely honed BS meter. And we know it's just saying stuff because that's what they think we want to hear. It's very different to being on the entrepreneurial side of the fence, which is where you are if you're listening to this, because you are aspiring to be or are and want to grow a small business owner and, be someone who really makes an impact and makes a difference. And what is important about that is when you are starting to figure out how to show up now as the empowered CEO that your business really needs you to be, that's about authenticity. It's different to pretense. And so this is what I want you to start thinking about. How can I change the way that I'm showing up with authenticity? So if you are with someone who you really trust, it might be your best friend, it might be your partner, those might be the same people, your mum, your sister, your brother, whatever, somebody who's been in your life, who you have no boundaries with, who you are completely open with. How do you show up when you're with that person? I want you to think about that for a minute and sit with it and sit and feel how you are, who you are, when you are in that really comfortable place. Not the place where you're letting yourself get away with stuff that you actually aren't really happy about, and I know you know what I'm talking about. But when you're sitting there in that place, which is confident, comfortable, happy, willing to challenge, willing to put forward your point of view, willing to ask challenging questions, willing to call someone out when you can tell that they're actually not being straight up with you or with themselves potentially. Think about that version of you. How is that version of you different to how you're showing up in your business today? When you think about how you're showing up today, what are some of the feelings that you have that are different to when you're in that truly confident place? And if you can't think of an example with a really trusted person, think of an example when you are really confident. If you're really great at a sport or something and you just have no reservations, you just get out there and absolutely smash it and do an amazing job and trust in your ability to do so. Or if you are a volunteer, or maybe in your professional capacity, maybe there's something. I love facilitating. I'm good at it, and when I'm in front of a room and I've let everything else go because I have to be super, super present, I feel amazing when I'm watching this, the interactions unfold in the room. That's a place of confidence for me. Go to whatever that place is and think about and feel and sit with it for a minute and think and feel who you are in that place, and then compare that to how you're showing up today. Learning how to really show up in that confident way when you've done that comparison and you're thinking about it is what I'm talking about when I say change your mindset. This is the stuff that is the difference maker. Yes, there are lots of different things to do with shifting how you're thinking and what that thinking and thought life is doing to your action taking. But I want you to make it more about how can I be more authentic? If you start to really feel into your own message and your own authenticity in how you're showing up in your business and pushing yourself to go that little bit further and to, find the courage to call people out and to have your opinion and to, really say what you think and mean and feel, that is when you are starting to show up as the person your business needs you to be. When you do that, it causes something to shift, because the first time someone responds to you when you go out with a really out there opinion and someone says thank you so much, and sometimes they don't do it at the time, sometimes they'll come back later, and I say thank you so much for doing that. That really resonated with me. I haven't heard someone say that before. package up that feeling, because there's a little spark of confidence that happens then. And for those of us who have had moments where we can't find our confidence, it's really important to know what that feels like and pay attention when it does happen, so that you can build on it and use that as energy to do that again and again and again. And the more often you show up authentically as yourself and don't be afraid to have your message, the more your thought patterns start to change. Everything is habitual. Everything. Humans are creatures of habit. In fact, our brains are hardwired to live by habits. And when we start to behave in a different way, and we do that and acknowledge how that makes us feel, and acknowledge the situation that we're in when we did it, and the responses that we got from people, and we really pay attention to that, and then we do it again and we do it again, your brain starts to learn that that is something that is normal for you. But it does actually take time. We have to retrain ourselves. We have to shift our thought patterns. It's the same reason. It's a similar thing. I can't actually find the linking phrase that I'm looking for right there, but when we talk about affirmations and getting affirmations in place, the reason that affirmations work when they're done in a way that is comfortable and true for you personally, and I think that that looks different for everybody, is because that starts to shift our thought patterns. And if you catch yourself in a thought that you want to change often enough and reframe it, then eventually you will find that you don't have the negative thought, or the thought that you don't want to have anymore. You start to think in the new way. Affirmations do that for us. So do repeated behaviors. And so when we're talking about changing our mindset, really what we mean is, how can I shift my behaviors today? How can I deliberately step a little bit outside of my comfort zone and do that again and again until all of a sudden that's in my comfort zone, and then I just step outside it a little bit more and do that again and again until that's my new comfort zone? How can I do that repeatedly so that I can train myself to think differently, train myself to trust in my ability, train myself to believe in what is possible for me and for my business? The more you do that, the more likely you are to see a shift in your headspace, a shift in your mindset. And ironically, you're actually also taking action in your business when you're doing that. As you're creating that shift in how you're thinking, you're taking action, and you should be starting to see results as well. And I say should, and I actually really don't like that word, but by deliberately noticing the things that are changing around you as you're shifting your behaviors and as you're showing up in a different way and starting to challenge those thought patterns which are holding you back, you know, the ones like the I'm not good at this, that is something that I don't do, people don't like it when they hear me say X, Y, Z, you know, all of those thoughts that we use to kind of hide behind and stop ourselves from taking action and doing something differently. Once we start to challenge those, you find that you're shifting your subconscious beliefs and you're shifting the results that are possible for you down the future, in the future. Foggy brain, sorry. And so, I think my message today for you is, when people say change your mindset, you automatically get a block. How on earth can I change the way that I think? It all sounds very simple to just say that, but actually we're hardwired. So how do I do that? You're automatically going to start getting in your own way. If you shift that to, what are some of the things that I can do differently? How can I show up differently? How can I behave differently? How can I push myself just that little bit and then do it again and do it again and build that trust in myself and build some belief that that is something that I can do, or that is something that people will really value. And you start to compare it to, you know, those times when you are in that place of confidence and think and feel how you are in that place, and how can I bring that into my everyday for my business, for example, or whatever the situation is that you want to change. that's when you'll start to change your thought patterns. That's when you'll start to change your mindset. And when it becomes habitual in that way, you're going to start noticing results. And I don't necessarily mean results in a monetary way, although that is important. We are in business. What I mean is the result might be that you get some people showing up to your meetings or your lives, or you're getting comments, or you're getting people reaching out to you saying, thank you so much for sharing that. That was really impactful for me. Or simply a result might be the fact that you set yourself a goal to do something every single week as part of your tortoise marketing strategy that has you delivering some value to your ideal client every single week, and you do it. That's a result. That's something to feel good about, because in that result, particularly if you do it for long enough, you are going to build momentum in your business, but you're going to build trust in yourself, and you're going to build belief. And fundamentally, that's where changing your mindset sits. Once you start to believe in what is possible for you and for your business, those things will actually become possible. And that happens through deliberate action.
And that's a wrap for today's episode. If you enjoy listening to the Mums in Biz show, I would love for you to leave us a review on iTunes, and be sure to post a snap of you enjoying the show on Instagram and tag me at Nicole.Tuerick. You can also join in the conversation with me in the Mums in Biz tribe on Facebook. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of the Mums in Biz show.